You're listening to the Ballet Piano Podcast, lifting the lid on dance accompaniment.
Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of the Ballet Piano Podcast. I am Chris Hobson. To my left is...
Akiko Hobson?
To her left is...
David Yao, hello.
And to David's left is the beautiful...
Matt Gregory.
There you go. We're all here. How is everybody?
Yeah, really well.
Right.
Yeah.
Heavy.
You're heavy now. Actually, when listeners listen to this, you won't be heavy.
I hope so.
Well, I hope not, because this is going to drop in the middle of March or something like that.
I
The
really
baby or
hope
the
so.
episode?
Hopefully the episode.
What are we talking about today?
That's a very good question. Have you ever been somewhere and it's worked out or it hasn't worked out? You've been in a situation
What,
in
like,
the ballet.
like on a date?
Yeah, is it relationship
did
you're talking about?
you ever swipe right and then realise you should have swiped left?
Done that many a time.
Yeah, no. This week is all about when it works and when it doesn't work, and it's possibly like I realised just before we press record. It's almost like a horror stories episode, isn't it? It's like delving the depths of our embarrassing moments.
And specifically tunes.
Tunes
Yeah.
are a biggie with this.
Because some tunes are very specific in their meter and tempo. And when you think you're going to play that because that's what you're getting from the teacher, and as soon as you begin with your introduction, you've read it or it's not been quite right, and they adjust you immediately, which they're allowed to do. But then all of a sudden, it sounds really different than how it should. So I think that's where this episode is.
It's when it works and when it doesn't, isn't it?
Yeah.
So go on then. What was the one that didn't work? What's the first one that comes to mind?
Well, one of my examples is when you play the James Bond theme. And I've actually been in class as well, and the pianist has played this. And because it's such a specific tempo, isn't it? Sing it for us, Chris.
Really?
Go on.
Hang on, who's the trained singer around the table here? Look at you, look at you lobbing me under the bus. Oh, go on, sing it, Chris, with your beautiful singing voice. Yeah, na 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 na. It sounds like Shirley Bassey on crack.
But you know what I mean, though. The James Bond theme is it's got a very specific feel and a very specific tempo. And so you might go to play that and the teacher wants it, oh, no, much slower. And so then playing that tune really, really slow doesn't work. It changes the feel and all sorts of things. So whenever that has happened to me, I'll sort of persevere for 8 counts and then just change it up completely.
And it sounds like you failed, no?
Fail.
Yeah, like, oh yeah.
Do you sort of
like
loosely backtrack out of it?
Yeah, you sort of
And try and fade out over 8 counts. You go
Do-
dun 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 dun.
do it discreetly. Yeah.
It's about as subtle as a sledgehammer. My example, not your playing.
But you've got to just make it work, haven't you? You don't want to stop and start again. Although sometimes that does happen. You've been completely way off, and the teacher says, "Oh, sorry, more like this," and you stop and just start again, don't you?
I used to get mortified with that when I was new to the job, and I sort of accept that sometimes now we're not always going to get it right. In the same way that the teacher's not always going to get it right, it's okay to stop. And I've done it semi-recently in work. Sorry, I just hit the microphone lead. I've done it semi-recently in work where you'll just go, hold your hand up and go, I'm really sorry, I got that completely wrong.
Yeah.
Let me go again.
Yeah.
It's like, because everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's okay to accept the mistakes.
Absolutely, I think it's okay to do it.
Yeah.
I've also done that at an open class, actually recently, where I've just really got it wrong. And because the teacher's been so polite, she's let me just go with it.
Right.
And I'm thinking, none of this is working, but the dancers are still doing something. I'm still doing something. And then I think at the end, I just said that didn't work. Sorry, I should have played something else. Have
you ever been in the situation when it works and it shouldn't work? Sort of like, so I was in a class a couple of weeks ago, and the teacher said, "Oh, you want a tarantella?" He's like, "Tempo is no object. Go for it." It's like a red rag to a bull. It's like, if you tell me this, I mean, you're talking to the guy who's a bit of a pain in the derriere sometimes. Like a teacher once said to me, "Oh, we're only doing 15 rises." Well, really, you could just stand there for the 16th one. But if you want to, like, don't worry about it. Just like play through and we'll dance through it. It's like, no, you're getting it. It's like, here's a 3, here's a 2, here's a 7 and a 3. There we go. Whatever I happen to do at the time. But yeah, no, he said to me, he's like, tempo's no object, go for it. I want them to move. So I went with the etudes tarantella, it's like, a bit quicker. Coffees had kicked in. It came up. He's like, stop, gave corrections, second side. Any chance we could have it a bit quicker?
Oh.
Whoa.
You know who this is? It's our Spanish friend, yeah?
Yes.
I was like, you can have it as quick as you want, but I'm going to miss notes out. So all the left-hand stuff like... So the next one, I was like, okay, I'll really change it. I got saying, I was like, bloody hell, I didn't realise I still had that sort of dexterous technique.
And they get so excited because there's lots of notes and really fast, don't they?
It's exciting.
But once I was playing something quite fast, and then the teacher was like, "Okay, let's people gather around the piano to just look at her fingers."
It wasn't David, was it?
And it was before COVID time, so people can go around the piano and look at just me playing this really fast, and then I start to panic, like it's so nervous, like, and then I start to play like really all the wrong notes, and it's.
How wrong did you get it on a scale of 1 to 10?
It was about 6.
6 right or 6 wrong?
I don't know. I was very nervous.
Oh. Well, actually, that's the thing about our job. You're on your own all the time, aren't you? So when you suddenly become the focus of attention, like our job, as a pianist, is meant to be basically support and encourage.
Yeah.
So
What does that feel like then? Yeah, when you suddenly you're put on the spot. What does that feel like?
Embarrassing.
I hate it.
When teachers want sort of irregular time signatures like 5s and 7s and things that you don't play all the time, and you either, if you've got repertoire for them, great, or you have to improvise something, that can, a little bit bead sweat moment when you think, okay, well, they're setting the exercise and you're racking your brain for something to play.
Yeah.
That can be a little bit, daunting.
Do you have this that, you was playing one tune and then you kind of plan that, I'm going to switch to this tune next. And then something happened and you just modulate into the key that you never played. So you have your own kind of nervous panic inside you, but nobody knows.
You don't know what the key is doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I've never played this key, but I have to keep going.
Do you ever do it that you plan to play something, but you know 2 tunes that are similar that you play for, say, like the same adage?
Yes.
And then you play and it's in the same key, and then you start playing, like, I'll do the introduction and I'll get 8 bars into it. Yeah. And then suddenly, like, holy moly, I'm playing the completely wrong tune here. Yes. This is not what I planned to do. Yeah. And then I panic. Because I'm like, well, this is not what I expected. And then I overanalyze it. It's like, oh gosh, I've forgotten where it goes in bar 13 or something.
And you just switch to improvisation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
If you're enjoying this episode, then why not visit the website balletpianopodcast.com and join the mailing list. You can access past episodes, transcripts, music playlists, and so much more. It will ensure you never miss new episodes or updates. That's balletpianopodcast.com.
Another example for me where, a tune hasn't gone well or it hasn't gone right, in the example of the James Bond theme where you're asked to play it slow and it doesn't work. The other way is when you play something that you think is a certain tempo and the teacher wants it much quicker. And so you think, we'll play a polka for this or a hornpipe or a reel or something, and they want it much quicker. And then all of a sudden, you know, got spaghetti fingers trying to fit all the semiquavers in and things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That must have happened.
Yeah.
It's...
And you've got to just... go for it.
Well, you just have to make it happen.
Make it happen to the end.
I think we've referenced this before, haven't we? When the teacher says, I want to have it double tempo on the second side. Or like, we'll do the first side, the second side, and then we'll do it double tempo. And you go, well, we won't. You can. But actually what they want, usually, not always, but sometimes what teachers actually want, it's just it's an extra 20% on the tempo or something like that.
Yeah,
it's never double time.
That's what I did recently as well. A teacher wanted both sides of the bar, then coming back onto the first side and would go a bit quicker. Now the first tempo was really quick anyway,
right?
So I thought a notch up into this is into an coda feel,
right?
So I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. It's going to feel very different for them, but it's only going to be a little bit brighter than what they've just done. And so I thought, right, I need to set this up in my last 8 counts in the first tempo, so they're not shocked. But then they were.
I remember you voice noting me about this.
The teacher was as well. The teacher got flustered. So we had to stop and not play that. Yeah.
But then you can sort of look at that and go like, well, whose fault is that? It's sort of
it's not.
That's a generic like building falling over. That's an earthquake fault. It's not your fault. It's the way it was.
I thought I was helping them out.
Yeah,
exactly.
But you feel like it's your fault, don't you? Like on the spot.
But they all look at you like, why did you get it wrong?
Yeah.
When the music has to stop, it's because the music was wrong.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, really, the teacher needs to just say, hands up, sorry, that was my fault because I intended to do this and I didn't tell my pianist this. I just said go faster. I had no idea where I was going with it.
And then some teachers actually don't know that
that's
their
true.
fault. So,
but when you're in Chris, sometimes when I asked for your famous reel, it's on purpose because actually I want the faster tempo at the beginning, but I know full well if I introduce that at the very beginning, they'll all be falling all over themselves. So if you go slow first, and then I just like gently start indicating to Chris to go fast and fast. By the time we get to the 4th or 5th time, we're at proper tempo, but we've had to go all the way around the houses to get there.
We will do. Okay, so listen, if you log on to the website, onto the episode notes for this one, there's going to be a YouTube video of me actually doing this reel for David Yow, so you guys can see what we're talking about. I mean, it'll only be my fingers because let's face it, we work in school, so I can't stick the students on YouTube, but you can see my fantastic piano.
Would you already have a video of it, or are you going to do it?
No, it will be on there when this is released.
Okay.
There you go, David. No pressure. We've got to do it at some point. But have you had it, David, when you've planned on doing something and the music hasn't worked, and then how do you actually put that across to the pianist? Because I had this with a teacher last week, and she's a lovely friend. Like we go out for dinner together and things like that. And she said to me randomly one day, she's like, "Chris, it feels too heavy. It needs to be quicker." I she didn't say quicker. She was like, "Chris, it feels too heavy. Can we have something else?" I was thinking, I'm definitely playing the same as I played yesterday because it was a set class for the week. But why is it heavier? And then I was analysing my own play. I was like, okay, right, maybe I'm being heavier on the bass. I'm using more sustain pedal or something like that. But what do you do when the pianist doesn't do what you're hoping for or expect?
Sometimes when you've started a process, what you really want is something else halfway through, and you really just have to be brave and just say, actually, sorry, that was my fault. I really want this now, even though we did this yesterday. But half the time it's really difficult because you run full flow. And then it gets a bit, then there's a miscommunication, and it's not one person or another. It's a combination of things. And usually the teacher needs just to be brave and say, sorry, let's do that once more. I've got it all back to front. What I really wanted is this. And then you'll get from your pianist exactly what you want. But if you're trying to speed them up or slow them down in the middle of something, it's going sometimes if they're not very experienced, you're going to get a mismatch. And that's not their fault. And so when you've got a very experienced pianist like you guys are, you can do so much. But when you have a teacher with an inexperienced pianist, or you haven't worked with that pianist before, it's a learning experience, isn't it? And you just have to very carefully just tread.
Like that first teacher. I mean, like Matt, we've had this conversation before. You said like I really get a little bit anxious when I play for somebody new for the first time. Whereas you told me that you really enjoy it. Whereas I don't know, maybe creature of habit or something like that.
Well, Jonathan still calls it like first date nerves.
That's what I was going to say. It's like a first date.
For a teacher that you've never played for, you sort of have your greatest hits that you just know will work for a plie, a tondu, and then once you're sort of into jetés and glisses, you may have worked the teacher out. Whether they set a bit quicker or a bit slower, or whether they like swingy things or Latin music or anything, you sort of may have worked them out. 3 or 4 bar exercises in. But I like that. I think they always give me the guest teachers at the company. Because I like playing for.
Do you ever
new
speak to the
people.
teacher beforehand and ask what they like? Have you got a preference of stuff? Is there anything you really want me to play for you today? Or do you just like freestyle it?
No, but funnily enough, at the moment, in this time of recording, I'm broadening my repertoire. I'm putting new tunes in. So I'm going to my open class teachers and saying, well, I play for you 3 times a week. What music do you like?
What do you want to hear? Yeah.
If I'm going to put music in, it might as well be something that you enjoy listening to. Because there's also things that I don't play for certain teachers because I know they've done, Romeo and Juliet their whole career, so they don't want to hear it. So that's what I'm doing right now at the moment, actually, with my teachers.
That's very fortuitous that we recorded this on this particular day then, isn't it?
But I have a question for David. When you set an exercise and you sort of
I have a tune
in your head, and then the pianist might play something completely different.
I often let it just go because sometimes it goes to a place where I haven't even thought about it, and that's really interesting in itself.
Yeah.
But if I've got a specific thing in mind, then I might just say on the second side, okay, that was lovely, but can we do this on the other side?
Yeah.
Because I had this in mind, and then you'll get a different kind of a feel for it.
But actually, you're good with that because if you do want something specific, you will let us know slightly in advance. You go, I've thought about this. I mean, like hankering back to 2 years ago as we record this, you used to send me your class when I was playing for you on Zoom when we were on the opposite side of the Thames for each other, so I could work out what it was, and I'd either play the same or I'd do something that was similar.
Yes.
So it was the easiest way of working at the time.
Yeah.
You're really diligent with that. It's actually easy.
Because it makes such a big difference to the actual feel of the class if your pianist is with you or against you.
Yeah.
You're trying to fight each. Doesn't work like that.
Well, for an example, for you, David, when you sometimes do your plays on the 5/4, like you guys play the swingy take 5, 5/4, don't you?
Whereas not for the pliés.
Oh, right, okay.
Actually,
Because obviously there's different 5s.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
Right, okay.
But you tend to play a different kind.
I play a different sort of 5,
which is interesting in itself.
Yeah, and I'm playing that thinking, okay, well the Hobsons might play the swingy 5, and I just think, it feels very different, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And it makes the students listen. That's really what you want.
Yeah.
But do you get like, you guys get like, the teacher's marking something and you already know that different tune or different accent might work better, but teacher is setting in this specific, rhythm. And the other one works better.
And it always seems to be that they'll set it in a very specific way and want a very specific sort of rhythm or a particular tune.
Yeah, and it's a bit too busy, but other one would work better, and then what shall we do? Shall I play what exactly she's marking?
Well, that's the age-old question, isn't it? It's like if a teacher comes up to you and asks you for a 2/4, but then they set a 3/4, what do you play? It's like, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, but I would play a 3. Always play what a teacher sets, not what they ask for.
Yeah.
Because they can be disconnected, or you can just change as the teacher goes to demonstrate the exercise sometimes. It's a minefield, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you ever just say, is that really what you want or something? Or
I tend to just not say and then just play what I'm asked for.
Yeah, sometimes I've done that. They might be setting an exercise and as they're going through it, they'll switch between a 2 and a 3.
Yeah.
Well, right, exactly.
As they're setting it. Because when you sing the names of steps, some of the actual rhythm of the words of the steps lend themselves to certain time signatures. So they might land on a 3 when they're setting it with the words, but then when they're doing it with the counts, they might sing a 2. And so I think, do you want that on a 3? And they might say, oh yeah, fine. If they don't really know.
Because when I was really young and just started out in this and was doing the old ISTD and RAD jobs, I didn't really know what the tempos were. And there's a great guy up north. I don't know if you know John Taggart.
No.
John's fantastic. And I met him when I was 17, 18 or something out on my first gig. And I was like, I've got no idea what the tempos are. He's like, just say it. He's like, say chete, say tondu, say plie.
Oh, yes.
He's like, you won't be 100% right, but you'll be in the right ballpark for going tondu, or plie. Like, it's not going to be plie. It's like, whereas if you go jump, it's quicker. It's like there's a lot to be said for.
Yeah, Adage.
The way that you say it. That's genuinely how I got through the first few years of being a jobbing freelance pianist, jobbing between contemporary and random bits of ballet before I knew what ballet was. I thought ballet was just like stupid little exams in a church hall. I got no idea what it was.
That's such good advice there.
Yeah.
John's brilliant. He really is. But yeah, all the words are verbs, as we talked about a long time ago. And they sound sometimes like what you want.
Yeah.
It's true.
I think that's it, isn't it? This is another wrap up that we can't. That's it. David's just finished it off with another gem of information.
But interesting. It'd be interesting now that we've talked about these things. Do the listeners have any comments of their own?
Yeah.
Their own experiences that might help us.
Actually, that's true. Actually, like, stick it out to all the ballet pianists now. Like, how did you learn what your go-to tempo is for a rondejump or a plie? Or a jump or anything? What was the, because there must have been defining moments for everybody that makes us learn what we do and why we do it and how we do it and experiences that you have.
Are there any particular little tips and tricks that help you, especially teachers? When you're teaching, is there anything that helps you to get your point across to your pianist and pianists? Is there anything that you can help your teachers with? Because that really would help us.
How can a pianist help the teacher get off the iPad? Sorry to finish it on a jovial moment. But next week, we've got an absolute cracker dropping for you. It's going to be in conversation with James Barton of Scottish Ballet. So for now, it's goodbye from me.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.